What's up guys, Nax Tech here, and this is going to be a versus video between the Google Nexus 7 and the iPad mini. The Google Nexus 7 has a quad-core 1.3 GHz CPU, the iPad mini has a dual-core 1 GHz CPU. So I'm just going to start off this comparison with doing a few little speed tests, and we'll see there's nothing in the memory for either one. I know the apps are slightly different, they're on different ecosystems, so the test isn't perfect, but you'll get an idea of just the general speed of both devices. So I'll open the default web browser on each one, see who opens quickest. 1, 2, 3. Pretty much neck and neck there. You can see they're loading different pages, so don't worry about the loading speeds. But the general performance is actually very, very good from both. Both open apps very quickly. We'll open the music app here. 1, 2, 3. Faster on iOS there, but then I actually have music on my Nexus 7, and that'll make a difference. In terms of going back to the home screen, you can see the difference in speed here. Obviously, it's a physical button, but it's very smooth on the Nexus 7 as well. We'll open up the gallery. 1, 2, 3. Both are very quick. You can see the iOS one loads kind of quicker, but then there's really nothing on my iOS one at all, whereas there's a lot of stuff on my Nexus 7. So that kind of is an unfair test there. We'll open Google Play in the App Store. 1, 2, 3. Nexus 7 wins out there clearly. It's already loaded everything. Again, it's kind of difficult because they are different. They're different apps. But you can see that both, obviously the iOS device is very smooth. Nothing's going on the iOS device. Background tasks aren't really happening. It's just icons. The Nexus 7, you can have widgets. I don't really have widgets on my Nexus 7, but you can. The general OS, you can see it's very smooth. There's no problems with it. It's got a quad-core 1.3 GHz processor, like I stated, and it flies. It's very nice. It's very good. You'll probably notice, obviously, the difference in the screens. And this is a 7.9-inch screen, and this is a 7-inch screen with different aspect ratios. This has a 4.3 aspect ratio, the iPad mini, and the Nexus 7 has a 16:9 or 16:10 aspect ratio. So that's going to be better for movies. This is going to be better for web browsing. So let me just use the default browsers and do some speed tests. Now, if you want to, I should probably clear the cache on both of these to be fair. So yeah, I'm just going to clear the cache on these to be fair. And I have made a proper detailed comparison between the web browsing on the Google Nexus 7 and the iPad mini using different browsers as well, because I'm not a massive fan of Chrome, but I'm going to use Chrome here because, it is the default browser, and, you've got to use the default browser in these tests to make them kind of fair. So that's it. They're both cleared. You can open them both at the same time. We'll get rid of that page and we won't use it. And I'll write in the websites here, and I'll skip to when I'm about to press go. Okay, guys, and I've got The Verge in both of these, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit go. Pretty much neck and neck. Hard to tell who's winning at the moment. Okay, the iPad mini is coming first, followed quickly behind by the Nexus 7. The iPad mini is completely done. You can see here, nice and responsive. And now, we're still loading here on the 7, and now it's done as well. And again, nice and responsive, but not quite the responsiveness of the iOS device, and you can see it there. I'm not going to go into loads of detail in these browsers. I'm just doing quick speed tests because I've done a whole video on them. But yeah, you can see your differences there. We'll try another website. Okay, I've got Android Community in both. So let's hit go. 1, 2, 3, go. You can see they're pretty much level here, guys. See which one finishes up. And okay, we're still going on both. You can see the spinning icon here and the spinning icon here in the bar. We're completely done on the iPad. There is no more spinning bars, so that's completely done on the mini there. We do look like there is some code still going on the Nexus 7. I don't know if it's just kind of got stuck there or what, but there you go. Again, let's test out the performance. Very nice on the mini. And we are now completely done. I think, yeah, we're now completely done on the 7. So it is lagging a little bit behind the mini, and that's basically just due to the browser software optimization is massive these days, guys. That's what it's all about. It's nice and smooth though. You can see the difference in the screens, how much more you get on the iPad mini due to the bigger screen size and 4:3 aspect ratio. You can see pinch to zoom here works nicely. I just feel it's a bit smoother and a bit more responsive on the mini. I really enjoy web browsing on the mini over my Nexus 7. I'm not saying the 7's bad, it's just not as good, plus the screen's a little bit bigger, so that helps out. I'll do one more speed test here, guys. Okay, guys, and Daily Mail is in the address bar on both. I'm going to go ahead and hit go. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, it's actually appearing here first on the Nexus 7. So it appeared first and looks like it's loading more. And we're completely done over here on the iPad, so the iPad did catch up and we're done over here. That was pretty tight, so you'll have to tell me who actually won that one. Actually saying that, we've now got a spinning icon quickly there on the iPad mini, so I am gonna go ahead and give that to the 7 because it isn't spinning anymore. In terms of, you could see it was a bit choppy there when it started, but once you got your finger on there, it's okay, it's nice and responsive. See again, it was choppy. On the iPad mini, there is no such choppiness. It's very nice and very smooth. So in terms of web browsing performance, they're both very quick, but I suppose you have to give it to the mini. It's just a little bit clearer in terms of because of the screen size and stuff like that. In terms of screen clarity, though, let's zoom into some text here. And both look pretty nice. I've got to say, though, I don't know how well you will see that because you can kind of zoom in a little bit more on the mini if I try and zoom into the same level, like there. I don't know what it is, if it's just me or not, but you can definitely see it's a slight bit blurry on the iPad mini compared to the 7, and that is due to the pixel density. I think the iPad mini comes in at 163 ppi, whereas the Nexus 7 comes in at 216. So you are going to get a sharper image over here on the Nexus 7. And I think I have noticed that in web browsing. You can definitely see it here. If I try and put them at the same size, I don't know if you'll see, but it's very sharp over here. You know, I can see clearly defined edges. Over here, I don't know, it just seems like there's a little haze over the text. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing it's the pixel density. Obviously, we've got a lower resolution and lower pixel density over here compared to the Nexus 7. So that is something to take into account. You can also see how they reproduce colors. If you look at that closing sign over on the iPad mini, like most iOS devices, you've got a warmer palette tone and it kind of gives you more vivid colors, but then sometimes doesn't produce the whites as nice. So you can see the whites are a bit creamy over here, whereas white is white over here. But then the color over here is a lot more saturated than over here. It might say it's a little washed out. So it's kind of catch-22 there. You have to say which one you prefer. And, you know, I don't mind. They're both kind of nice. I probably prefer the nicer whites. I prefer more of a bluish tint to my screen rather than a warmer tint. But that's that. If you want to see more benchmarks and stuff in for the web browsing between these two, check out my web browsing video. We'll move on. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll load up YouTube. We might as well do a little speed test as well at the same time here. You can see both devices are very responsive. See who loads up first. Pretty much identical when they actually came down to it. So let's check out. You can see the difference in the apps are slightly different. We'll load the same video and we'll try and hit these at the same time to test it out. We'll just put in HD. Why not? HD. Okay, and yeah, they've both come up with different stuff. Although the Iron Man HD trailer is the same. Yeah, it's the same guy. So I'm going to click these and see who comes first on playing them. So the Nexus 7 wins out there. It did start playing it first. And let's check out how they look in their landscape modes. I'll put the iPad mini on the top here. Put the Nexus 7 at the bottom. Now, I don't know what, you know, like clip this is in. I don't know what aspect ratio the file is in, but you can see you get massive black bars on both. although saying that you do get bigger black bars on the iPad mini, and that's due to the 4:3 aspect ratio. If you've got a film that's in 16:9 or 16:10, it will fill the whole screen on the Nexus 7, whereas on the iPad mini you will still get black bars because films are not in 4:3, and that's kind of annoying. In terms of clarity, both screens, I've got to say, look very nice. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to come down to preference, really. Both look nice. You can see it's slightly warmer over here, a little bit of haze. Some would say maybe the Nexus 7 is slightly washed out, but it's all preference, guys. So both are amazing. I think both look fantastic. We'll just pause those out and we'll twist them back over so we can see better. So I just want to talk to you now. I haven't really got any games on here to test. Actually, I do. Okay, I'll just play Vice City on both and show you this performance. Like I said before, I am going to do a proper gaming comparison between the two, showing a lot of games and a lot more tests. So I'm just going to test this quickly here, and you'll see the difference. So we'll put these side by side. This is the same game on both devices. You can see the on-screen buttons on the Nexus 7 here, whereas you don't get any in the iPad mini. Can be annoying, but we'll move on. Pretty much loaded at the same time here, guys, as well. We'll go into options on both and see if there's anything we can change. I don't believe there is. So everything's on max on here on the Nexus 7, and there's no settings on here, but I guess they're on max. I mean, I'm not completely sure. And we'll load a new game and see who loads the game first. Why not? Start. New game. Here we go. Pretty much neck and neck here, guys. iPad mini just wins out. You can see it's actually filling the screen completely on the, well, it's filling the screen on both, but obviously that's a bigger screen, so it kind of looks a bit better. Saying that, the colors look kind of better on the Nexus 7 here, a little bit more detail. Let's skip into this. This could be something to do with my brightness levels. I'm not completely sure what they are.
I poked my head out of the gutter for one freaking second and made shovel shit in my face.
You see the difference there in the resolution, actually. You can see the top of the building on here. You can't see the top of the building over there. So that's interesting. I didn't notice that before.
Show me some ID.
And there we go. We're away on both. So I tell you what I'll do. I'll play one at a time. Otherwise, this is going to be basically impossible. Give you a little zoom in here. We'll just go for a little drive. Check out this performance. See if we get any slowdowns. So you can see a few frame drops, but generally it's very smooth. Now, this isn't like the strongest iOS device out at the moment, but it isn't half bad, I've got to say. Like I said, there's no graphical settings, so I don't really know what it's running at, but it's performing very well and it looks great. Screen saturated colors give everything kind of an in-depth feel, which is nice to see. I really have no issues on frames. It looks like it's in the 30s to 40s, no problem, if not a little bit higher. Sometimes it stutters. You can see there it stuttered. That'll do for the iPad mini. And go back over here and we'll resume. I do have volume on here, by the way. I think it's just low. There we go. So this is on max settings everywhere. Pretty good performance over here as well, I've got to say. I'm going to go out there and say it right now. I don't know if it's a brightness difference or what, but I'm definitely preferring the look of Grand Theft Auto on here in terms of its screen clarity. In terms of performance, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the iPad mini. I think it's just a little bit smoother most of the time. Not to say this is slow. I mean, this is playing on the maximum graphic settings and it's easy, it's fine, there's no problems, you can see. There's no major frame drops, there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't seem quite as smooth as the iPad minis. So, I mean, a lot of this is going to come down to what ecosystem you like and the price. I mean, let's just say both of these are 16GB models. They're not, but let's just say they are. The Nexus 7 comes in at £159. The iPad Mini comes in at £269. So over £100 more expensive just because it's Apple, you know. And I'm not sure that's even worth it. In terms, so you got to take that into account when you're looking at these two. If you want to spend an extra £100, fair enough. If you don't, the iPad, this Google Nexus 7 is fantastic. In terms of portability, both are good. You can see here I can fit both in one hand if I hold both. But I've got to say, I think the Nexus 7 feels better in the hand. It's thinner because of the aspect ratio in terms of length. You know, it's not as fat. The width isn't as fat, I should say. Portability, I feel like you could easily put this in your bag or rucksack and you would hardly feel it. I've even seen some people have these in their pockets. It's so kind of thin in terms of width. I don't think you can do that with the iPad Mini. I think it's just a little bit too fat because of the 4:3 aspect ratio. And it's still nice. It's still very portable, but yeah, it can be a little bit too big if you're looking at these in terms of pure portability machines. So that's pretty much everything covered, guys. I'm not going to go into the whole Jelly Bean versus iOS debate. You do obviously have both front-facing cameras over here. You have a rear-facing camera on the iPad Mini. You don't have one on the Nexus 7, so take that into account. Depends whether you're going to want pure Google or pure Apple iOS. That is where it is, guys. Gaming, if you want a small gaming device, the iPad Mini is fantastic. It plays all these games on full settings really nicely. The Google Nexus 7 plays all the same games as well, probably not quite at the highest frame rates. In terms of OS responsiveness, you know, it's hard to show you really, but I don't know what it is, but I feel my Nexus 7 is quicker just doing simple stuff. I don't know why that is. Maybe the transitions are a little bit quicker. Maybe the on-screen buttons help. I don't know. I just feel like I can move around a lot quicker. And multitasking, hands down, goes to Nexus 7, but that's probably just because of the operating system. I mean, this really bugs me. I mean, I've just found out about this gesture thing, which makes it a little bit easier, but I still don't like the way it multitasks, really. I mean, that wasn't bad, actually. I'll give that. I can't get back out of it. You can see I had to reload the app, kind of. If I go here, go to my YouTube, it's still there. I didn't have to reload the app. I can go back out into my gallery. It's all still there. I can go into maps that I just loaded. It's still loading. Google Play Movies. You can see the multitasking is a breeze on Android 4.2 and iOS is nowhere near it in terms of pure multitasking ability. There's no two ways about that. So if you're a multitasker, go for the Google Nexus 7. Another quick thing, guys, I want to mention to you is battery life. Now, I don't have the specific stats for like how big the battery is on both these devices, but if I go in Android, I can show you how long this has been on. So you can see it's been on for a day and 59 minutes with a screen on time of 2 hours, and we are sitting at 62%. So pretty good there. I've got to say, I think the iPad Mini is better. I've been using this for about a week, and I promise you, I haven't charged this once. It came out the box with 90% battery, and I've been doing reviews, I've been playing Vice City, I've been doing loads of different things with it, web browsing, all that stuff, and it's sitting at 22%. So its battery life has been phenomenal. Absolutely amazing on battery life. Both are very good. I don't like theoretically, this is going to go on. Did that say? Yeah, 62%. This is going to go on for another probably 5-6 hours of screen on time. It depends how much you use it. You can see here how brilliant the battery life is. It's been on for a day. But the iPad Mini, I haven't charged it once, and I think that just means it has to win on that front. So yeah. So yeah, guys, there's the kind of little review of both of these devices. It's kind of a difficult decision, in my opinion. Both are great at different things. In terms of media consumption, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Nexus 7 for videos and stuff like that, mainly due to the higher pixel density, higher resolution, and the aspect ratio. In terms of web browsing and gaming, I'm going to give it to the iPad Mini. I prefer the 4:3 for the websites, and it's just a lot smoother. And also games run slightly smoother than the Nexus 7 here. So yeah, that's my review there, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. See you all later.